Welcome to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, everybody, for tonight's game between the Carolina Skyhawks and the Pittsburgh Riverhogs. We continue to have multiple issues with our broadcast team here today, but we're working on all of those and getting this game underway. Jacob Clear will be with us shortly. Brett Solberg is also here in the analyst spot. Brett, how's it going? And both these teams searching for their first wins today.
Yeah, it's been a struggle for both these teams. You look at the Carolina squad, struggling to use their identity of being a run-heavy team. They were stifled in that first game, whereas for Pittsburgh, it's been two strings of losses, one where it felt like they could get the win offensively, but it just didn't come in that Week 2 game against Detroit. It's very two sides of the coin for these two teams. Someone's going to get their first victory here tonight.
The kick is underway, and I got to say, Brett, this home opener for Pittsburgh, the improvements that have been made to this stadium are pretty apparent. I think they might have the best field numbers in the league. They look great.
And in all honesty, and a lot of teams, I think that they could use a little bit more of upgrading. Like, look at these numbers. They look so fresh, and they're so unique.
They start with a handoff to the running back. That's Mike Churchill. Loss of 2 yards as Carolina comes out in some fresh all whites with the Carolina red down the side of the pants. Ace Fennick is the quarterback for Pittsburgh, off to an 0-for-2 start. And Pittsburgh's lost a couple of nail biters. They've been in both games against Lexington and Detroit. That one is caught by Doug Britton for the first down up past the 35-yard line.
And mostly when you think of Pittsburgh's passing game, it's been mostly Fennick to Ziggy Hronek, who's having a great start to his season 25 campaign. 12 receptions, 228 yards, already second in the league in yardage. But, you can't forget the guys that are alongside him, like Deuce Fennick, Doug Britton, Ben Harrison has been a reliable tight end through the first couple games for this Pittsburgh Riverhawks squad.
The handoff to BB Belitz up past midfield gets another first down for the Riverhogs.
Yeah, and what has improved from season 24 into this season, you can tell early on, is that run game improving. 6th in the league through the first 2 weeks at 4.1 yards per carry. That's the number you need to have an effective run game.
So far, 11 yards on the ground and 20 yards through the air as Ace Fennick fires it down the field, incomplete, knocked away by Mike Ryan.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that Carolina wanted to improve this week. They only had just the one turnover from Rochelle Colston in their Week 1 matchup in their loss to DC. They want to get those interceptions. They want to force turnovers from Pittsburgh tonight.
2nd and 10, Fennick 1-for-2 to start. Belitz and Churchill each with a carry. Fennick will play fake, good play fake at that, and fire it down the field. It did not fool Danny Stinson. Could have fooled me. 3rd and 10.
No, it's a great play action as well. Most of the time you do see a run off of split backs, and most of the time it is that inside zone run, but he went with the play fake. It was a good throw, and Danny Stinson just almost had his hands on the football.
3rd down, 10 yards to go. 4 wide receivers for Fennick as Fennick drops to throw again. Actually hit a Carolina Skyhawk right in the shoulder. I think that might have been Skippy Curtis in the slot. 4th down.
That could have been Skippy Curtis. That might have been TD Jack as well. That might have been 36 on there. I'm not entirely sure, but nonetheless, that was a prime opportunity for another turnover. And Carolina wants them. They just need to capitalize now.
Pittsburgh's going to punt this away and bounce into the end zone for a touchback. So the drive started promising, Brett, and then it just kind of took a nosedive there at the end of the drive, and Bryant Dynasty comes out for the Carolina Skyhawks to start their first possession. A nail-biting loss to DC on convention weekend.
Yeah, and what I want to see this week from Carolina is more involvement from Bryant Dynasty in the pass game. Just 9 of 15 in that game against DC.
The ball caught by Curtis. First down to the 39-yard line. That's good enough for a Carolina first down.
Yeah, and you don't normally see that on first down, especially from a Carolina team that, if you talk to any coach aside from Carolina, they're going to think, oh, they're going to probably run for the first 2 downs. But no, they decide to zip it out to Chris Curtis on a first down throw. And I don't think Pittsburgh expected that early on.
8:05 to go in the first quarter, just getting underway here. Cameron Irvine along with Brett Solberg. In Pittsburgh, Ike McBride's opening carry is going to lose 2 yards, second down and 12.
Yeah, and that was just a completely beautiful decision by Brian Craven to jump the snap and get himself to the position of the runner.
Second down and 12. Dynasty with pressure off the left side. Incomplete. Had to get rid of it quickly. That could have caused some problems there. The pass breakup by Doug Day.
And you don't want to be in this scenario if you're either team. Third and long, especially if it's longer than the initial 10 yards. You've got to basically, start being a little bit more creative on these third downs. They're going to go 4 wide out here on this 3rd and 12.
Dynasty in a 3-by-1 look. And rolling to his left. In trouble goes down. That takedown thanks to Odette Boudreau on the line, and both defenses off to a good start.
Yeah, and the shocking thing here, Cam, first sack of the season for Pittsburgh, and it comes from Odette Boudreau. We're not thinking of guys like, Doug Day and Brian Craven, the Brash brothers, back together again this season. And you think of guys like Butch Menner would get involved in that effort, but no, it's Odette Boudreau, the newer Pittsburgh signing here, from a season ago, and doing great to start things off as Pittsburgh defense.
Malone Brown will punt it away for Carolina. Deep kick to the 24-yard line. To be returned by Britton, the always dangerous returner, but not on that one. Gets it up to the Pittsburgh 31-yard line. On that opening drive, Britton had a 20-yard reception, but Fenech threw 3 straight incompletions that stalled it out.
In Cam, you and I could probably, attest to this a little bit more, but Carolina has an affinity of signing some pretty hefty special teams players. If you remember, from a couple years ago, I think they had like a 280-pound kicker before Malone Brown, if I remember.
They're not afraid of people that eat, that's for sure. Ace Fenech drops that off. That is caught by Britton, breaking a tackle past the 50 to the 48. Doug Britton eating on his second catch of the day.
No, and that was great work. That just looked like, a ho-hum 8-yard reception coming from Pittsburgh, and that would have been a good play to start things off. But Britton, he's an 11-season veteran, and he's using that veteran instinct to push forward, shed off tacklers, get more than just those 8 yards.
Past the 50-yard line once again here for Fenech and the Riverhogs. That one over the outstretched arms of Mojo McClain into the hands of Deuce Fenech for Pittsburgh, first down.
Yeah, and Pittsburgh's got to love the bevy of receivers that they have available for Ace this season. They had some youngsters, this past season, but this season they grabbed, veterans in Doug Britton and Deuce Fenech to really help out Ace in, trying to acclimate himself into the Pittsburgh environment.
6:10 to go in the first quarter. No score. Pittsburgh on their second drive. Carolina's had the ball once. Fenech on a rollout to the left. Pass is hauled in by Ziggy Hronek. Now he's mixing the ball around. 2nd and 3.
Yeah, and what Carolina's doing, at least on this drive, is that they're just, feeling them out a little bit, seeing what they're going to bring to the table. They're not being super aggressive. They're not bringing too many to the line. That was just the entire defensive line getting to him, but everyone stepped back. They wanted to see where Fenech was throwing the rock to.
2nd down 3, needs the 24-yard line to the Riverhogs. They go back to the ground game, and Mike Churchill, for the second time today, is dropped for a loss. That was Mojo McClain with the TFL, 3rd and 4.
Yeah, and only the 3rd run attempt from Pittsburgh in this first quarter so far. Very much it's been a pass-happy. 70% has been the pass to start things off, so I wouldn't be too surprised if they pass here on the splitbacks.
Play fake from Ace, and he tried to outrun the lineman, Christopher Colon, showing some athleticism on the outside, stalls the drive.
Yeah, and it was good work from those interior linemen in Phil Hall and Christopher Colon to shed off their man and then basically force Ace into a situation where he's either going to try to run wide or try to get the yards immediately. Regardless, it was going to be a sack.
46-yard field goal coming up for Pittsburgh, and that kick is up and right down the middle. I mean, literally right over the crossbar. Pittsburgh gets the first points of the game, goes up 3-0, a six-play, 39-yard drive, and we are joined by our Aussie friend, Jacob Clear, who hopefully will be able to stabilize things on his end throughout the duration of this game and call a great one with you, Brett. 3-0 Pittsburgh, a field goal on their second drive. Jacob, take it away.
Thrown in, but good to be with you, Brett. We got there in the end. Some difficulties on both sides this morning, seemingly for me. Returned out by Carolina after conceding the first score of the game. That'll be up past the 20 to the 24, and it was a productive opening drive for Pittsburgh, and we'll see if Carolina can match the scoreline here. It's been a good start to the campaign for Carolina under the guise of quarterback Brian Dynasty. He's already had 2 of 3 attempts in that first drive that stalled out, and I want to get more progress on this second possession.
Yeah, and I was just telling Cam that I'd like to see a little bit more Bryant Dynasty, and maybe they're going to show it early on in this game, and then they'll go to Riley Quintero, who has been their bell cow for many seasons.
No touches yet for Quintero. That run will go up through the middle, and we'll get a gain of 10 plus there for a first down. That's the first touch for Quintero, worth 11, so right on cue.
Yeah, so we think it's a first down, but they're marking it second and inches. This might be something challengeable early on if they want to face it, but they're going to stick to it. It's going to be second and inches. I'd be handing it right back off, either to Quintero or to Ike McBride.
Got McBride back there. She'll go to the left, runs away. Had to get away from Vasquez, but was enough for a 506-yard pickup. So 2 straight runs for Carolina on this drive, and both productive.
And again, we talked about this at the start of the game. Carolina is that run-first mentality. They are synonymous with the run game, and it starts with Quintero, and then it's followed up with McBride. And we should see this 1-2 punch a lot in this game. I'd like to see Brian Dynasty throw more than the 15 times he did against DC.
Quintero checks back in. He'll go the same run direction to the left. The first hit there did enough to slow him down. That was Tommy Waldbrook-Bussey at the line of scrimmage, followed up by Amonte Jubrar-Smith, who finished it off. Nice combo effort there by the Pittsburgh defense in response to the earlier 2 runs.
Yeah, and it's been early stops from this Pittsburgh defense has kind of stymied it. You know, last drives ended on a 4th and 12, and they're going to happen again. It's going to be a 3rd and 12 after this run.
McBride is Gonski in the backfield. Craven with the loss of 2 there. His first tackle for loss of the afternoon, and it'll force Brian Dynasty to show his hand here on 3rd down and long, and 2 of 3 so far on the game. Needs 12. 4 wide, 1 up the top there is Chris Curtis. Dropped back by Dynasty. There is pressure from Pittsburgh's defense. Evaded 1 sack. Won't get past the 3rd effort from Pittsburgh. And Dynasty is sacked for a loss of 2. Pick up there by Odette Boudreau. She's got 2.
Yeah, and early on here, Jacob, we're seeing the distinct change in Pittsburgh's defensive mentality. They haven't gotten a sack through the first 2 games. Now they have 2 just in this quarter alone. They are forcing Carolina into a hand that they didn't want to get into, where they start off, you know, pretty all right, and then they get stymied immediately.
Ryan Brown off the right foot will try and get as much yardage as he can. He caught 25 yards away from the Pittsburgh goal line. So the Riverhogs 1 drive so far, 1 field goal. Got downfield with relative ease, and see if they can match that on this possession or potentially get a major score. 2.5 left in the opening term. Phoenix so far 4 of 7 for 62. Collects the lead carrier with the 1 carry worth 13 yards from that possession. Fennec on the draw, hand off to Churchill. That will be worth about a gain of 9 they're going to give, and that's the best carry of his afternoon thus far.
Yeah, and Churchill has been, a great start to this Pittsburgh offense through the first two games. 4.6 yards per carry average. He's been, a consistent bell cow for this squad. 32 carries. He's got a couple here tonight.
Second down comes a blitz. He broke one tackle, couldn't get past the second, but it's a first down. One thing that we've heard publicly is sort of around the league in recent weeks is that he should be getting more volume than he has done so far this season, showing early 2 very good carries from B.B. Bullets worth a first down, and Pittsburgh 9 yards shy of halfway. Split backs, hand off to Churchill. The gut get. It's past one, and the second had to come from behind to pick him up. So Carolina's run defense a little bit gashed at the moment.
Yeah, and the problem with it right now is Pittsburgh is doing great work with these handoffs as well. It's not just an immediate one. Fennec is waiting for the running back to get to him to hand it off, which is helping that gap open up in the line.
Off to the right, Blitz is going to try and follow, but he's got caught behind a lineman and will be dumped at the line of scrimmage. So that's a good result for Carolina. That run right idea, poor execution. And Pittsburgh will have to try again here on third and short. You suspect they'll try the same thing. Churchill back out there as a lead.
Wow.
Will go to the air, and it's caught brilliantly in the air. That's an absolute specky from Levy Lease for his first of the afternoon.
Yeah, and Fennec threw some extra zip on that football too. You'll see that. That looked like and I know I'm going outside of your lengths on the sport reference here, but prime Max Scherzer with the Detroit Tigers throwing 98 miles an hour down the middle. That's exactly the type of throw that Fennec threw.
That means nothing to me, but I hope it means something to someone in the chat too. You don't look like a total nerd. 3-yard pickup there for Mike Churchill. To be fair, I've spent some time with people who follow the more obscure leagues around the US, and it's sort of again, it will mean something to someone, that reference.
Well, baseball is only obscure to you. It's not obscure to the entire country of America.
Correct. And up the middle again, this is B.B. Bullets. Gets a few more than Churchill did. That's worth 6. And third down and very short.
Yeah, and this will be the end of the quarter as well. So Pittsburgh starting to roll here, 3-0 at the end of one here, Jacob.
One done low scoring. Pittsburgh, though, on top of the terms thus far at home. Riverhog football 31 yards away from scoring range. Good to have your company here. I'm Jacob Clear. That's Brett Solberg. It's good to be finally on the booth. Look, for a second there, I wasn't going to be able to get into the game. That handoff, though, for a first down. Churchill, his first 2 carries meted him -2 in that opening possession for Pittsburgh. Since then, he's been all but productive and has gotten them downfield between he and Blitz. So far, Fennec has only had to throw it once on his drive. Pressure up the middle from Prasad. Drop back by Fennec. Through it middle, looking for Harrison. It's incomplete. Coverage there, up the middle.
Looked to be Danny Stinson. He was the guy that was threatening blitz, and then he backed off into it looked to be a mid coverage, and was at the right place at the right time. He's done that twice now tonight.
It's also obscured this network. I was wondering if the experience was on that one from his end. A reception Fennec that time, getting a completed pass outside, and Pittsburgh will make things a little bit harder. It's the free agent acquisition, Doug Britton, who's been productive early in this game.
Yes, very productive, and they're not trusting solely on Hronek, which they've done the first 2 games, which is a drastic improvement already just in this matchup alone.
Harrison is motioned across, former wide receiver turned tight end this offseason. So he's used to these sort of situations. 8 required for Fennec for a first down. Rolls out, no pressure from Carolina. He's got a hole here to throw. Throws end zone, it is incomplete. The receiver was double covered. Colston's got the pass deflection. Had Davidson Joseph there as well in company.
Yeah, and that was good protection from the line, and Fennick did a great job to get outside the pocket as well to give him a little bit more extra. They were definitely looking end zone with Hronek, and they had Harrison in there as well. I think Deuce was in there too, looking for a touch in the end zone. So they were definitely looking for 6. There was no chance they were just settling for a first down, and Carolina played it well.
So Espadro has to kick his second of the game. With 42-yard attempts. Swings it right to left. That will also stick through the upright. Pittsburgh has a 6-0 lead here at home.
Yeah, and that one a little bit different from their last scoring drive where they kind of blew down the field pretty quickly. This one, a long and arduous drive that made the Carolina defense tired, but not tired enough to get them to the end zone. So they got another 3 points on the board, and right now that's the early advantage.
By Boudreau. So Carolina conceding 2 scores early, but not to put them beyond 2 scores, if that makes sense. And I'll have another crack at it here. Again, it's just hasn't quite connected so far with their offensive philosophy that we know that they like to carry out. They love the ground game. See if these 2 backs can get going again. But as you mentioned, it might be the sort of game that Bryant Dynasty needs to take the terms into his own hands. 3 wide. And Chase Earl, who moves from one slot position to the other. By Dynasty, there's pressure again, and this time he got it away, and it'll be a 6-yard reception to Riley Quintero.
Yeah, just a simple check down to Quintero as well. He was looking for maybe one of those deep slants to really, connect on a deep route, but nobody was open. Goes to his check down, gets the guaranteed yards.
6 on that first play, 4 required. For the first down. They're going to go with a misdirection, and that they're going to give Quintero a first down there. Pittsburgh might be asking a question there.
Yeah, it might have been a little bit of payback for the other play that went 2nd and inches, even though he clearly ran for like 14 yards, it looks like. So maybe that was a little bit of a catch-up decision by the refs.
Goes around, comes around sometimes here. In the SFL point, that was Earl who moved across in motion. Hand up the middle again. That's good contact at the line of scrimmage. Craven's been making himself busy once more.
Yeah, those linebackers, it's not just been him. And we've talked about Brock Busey, and we've talked about Craven. We've talked about Doug Day maybe once or twice too. Like, the linebackers have been on point in this first half.
Again is stopped by Craven after a gain of about 3. Quintero on that touch. Not to mention Dimitri Montuma, the former Canton Classic, as well as been his 3rd season, I believe, with this football team.
Multiple time defensive player of the week nominees for last season. I just wish someone other than me would be able to get those player of the week voting out there. Oh.
And Dynasty's gone. Pittsburgh are all over him. That's Craven. 3 straight plays from Bryant Craven on that possession, and it stops another Carolina drive.
Man, that is essences of Vancouver Brian Craven coming out to play, where he's done that for many seasons over in Vancouver, over in Louisiana as well, and now coming into Pittsburgh is, maybe being that defensive X factor for this squad. So Craven, once again, being all over Carolina in this first half.
So there, Carolina now 0-3 on 3rd down so far in this game. It's another drive that just doesn't get going for the Skyhawks. And the pressure now really is on Pittsburgh to try and get a major score on the board and really pull away here and give themselves some comfort. And they've got the best field position so far of the game to do so. Starting this one 41 yards away from their own goal line. Twins to the right for Fennick. He's gone. There's been plenty of that so far, and Carolina have got one of their own on the board there as the sack's made by Christopher Cologne.
Yeah, and it was that adjustment pre-snap from the defensive line to pinch in instead of staying standard that maybe helped Cologne get that inside advantage over the guard to get past him to get to Fennec. That was a good decision made by the line, and they're going to pinch again.
It's 2-1 on the sack count so far this afternoon. Dropped back by Fennec. Another one where there was pressure almost in his face. Looking for Harrison, it's incomplete. That was nearly caught. Again, the Carolina secondary good enough there on that occasion. Mike Ryan did enough to spoil it.
Yeah, and that was a good look to Harrison as well. He was open enough to, secure that catch, but sometimes that inexperience comes in, and maybe, someone like a Doug Britton would get to it instead of Harrison, but still a good target from Fennec.
And Britton moved in motion. They might need a play from their $4 million man here on this play. Fennec's rolling out. He's going to have to rush from pursued from behind by Prasad. He got him, and it'll be a gain of 10 on the ground for Fennec, but not enough for the first down.
And this is the second time in this half that we've seen Ace Fennec forced into a situation where he's got to run for that extra yardage on third down specifically. The last time was a sack. This time he got a little bit of space, but definitely not enough to get that first down.
He punts it away again. This time, well spun, got out of danger there and got it up to the 20. Did well on that occasion. Did Nolan Pierce, sophomore wide receiver for this outfit. So thus far, again, Dynasty just hasn't been able to get the ball moving so far. They've been trying the ground game. Do they try and adventure with the pass a little bit more here on this possession? But Pittsburgh is sending tons of pressure their way. And Carolina yet to have a response to it. Twins to the right, two backs in behind. Dynasty. Pressure could come from either end. Both backs off. Three, it picked! Intercept! And it's going back in the other direction. Carolina are going to concede the first major score of the game with their football in their hands. It's Doug Day with the pick six.
Yeah, not only a great interception from Doug Day, but look at the defensive lineman. Again, Odette Boudreau being a menace to Dynasty in this first half because she had her hands up, which might have played into effect of that pass attempt, and it went straight to Doug Day, and then he goes, runs for that football, stiff arms a guy while doing it, just like, someone like Mateo Pravado would do, and then gets to the end zone. Pittsburgh is running hot here in this first half.
Well, I wasn't going to bring up a Vancouver player per se, but he did stiff arm Riley Quintero, and so it was one of those moments where you're like, he's just got to take some of his own medicine.
Yeah.
You normally put Quintero on that end of things, but Doug Day showing he might have had a missed opportunity to have a career running back there with that pick six. Huge moment for the free agent acquisition this offseason. They got him over from Chicago. He was part of the ownership group of the Seattle group as well, and it was a huge coup for the Pittsburgh to get him into an already stacked front seven, and that's, well, the first interception, first pick six, whatever you want to call it, for Doug Day in a Pittsburgh uniform. And Carolina now find themselves down by 2 scores. Handoff, Quintero trying to get one back. He's going to get up past the 40. That's a good response. And RQ starting to heat up.
Yeah, and that was something that they desperately needed. Just calm things down, especially after a pick six, and then essentially going back to the same spot, the same line of scrimmage where Dynasty threw the interception. He had to go right back to it. He just hands it off to Quintero. He trusts him to get a 20-yard run.
One tight end now for Dynasty. He will throw. Pressure was there, but got it away nice and quickly.
Wow.
On Suman, push him down. A leg drive there for the first down. Well played by the fullback, Tori Hanzo.
Check that. That was Gibson Rickenbacker with the reception as he drives his feet down as 2 men were basically straddled on each shoulder, and he manages to get 9.5 yards.
Inside that'll be Quintero, first down, and then some. That's the first reception for a receiver not named Chris Curtis for this Carolina offense. It's taken 16 minutes of scrimmage to do so. And Carolina now find themselves up past halfway. Twins again on the right, pressure potentially coming from the left for Pittsburgh. They go 3 up front again. And worth 7 on that occasion.
Yeah, it was good work to basically counter the pressure, the immense pressure brought from Pittsburgh, to go with a little bit of a shorter pass, just get the reception, get those yards in.
3.5 left in the half. Carolina will do well to get a score on the board here, given how much Pittsburgh's been on top of the game. That handoff on the outside's not going to get enough for a first. It'll get them just a touch closer. Monsuma shutting that one down.
I keep looking at these Pittsburgh jerseys, and I always have to ask myself, how close are the Pittsburgh fonts on the backs of the jerseys to Charleston's backs of the fonts of the jerseys? They almost look similar, just in a different color.
Not close enough. A good carry there. That's a first down. Carolina starting to get the 3rd down conversion rate up. That was not looking great in the opening term, but that's going to do well to boost them forward. Quintero with that touch, and now McBride can check back in. The ground game starting to settle. Three wide, McBride and a fullback in here. Pittsburgh again sitting with the 3-man front, and it's plenty of room for McBride to run into as a result. Call that 6.
Yeah, and this is the danger that you could have as a defense of facing a 1-2 punch like Riley Quintero and Ike McBride, both capable as number 1 running backs, but now they're playing 1A and 1B, and both can be dangerous at any point. 2-minute warning.
2 to go in the opening half. Carolina scoreless thus far, but it's their best scoring opportunity in the game. See if they can cash in on major points and keep this within a single score heading into the second half. That would be, again, Pittsburgh's been all over this game. It would be a significant result if they were able to do that. Pittsburgh switching back to a 4-man front. Hand off on the outside. It's Quintero. And that will be a gain of 1. Shut down at the line of scrimmage there. And it's pressure time again for Carolina's offense. Jabbar Smith, another important tackle. He's made waves in his rookie campaign.
Major 3rd down here for Carolina.
Got to convert it there. 1 of 4 so far today. Make it 1 of 5. Shut down behind the line of scrimmage there by Corey Mennett.
Yeah, I mean, Doug Day, Brian Craven, Dimitri Monzuma, Tommy Welbrook, Busey have all been major contributors in this first half. The linebacking core has been ready for this Carolina run game.
Trying to wind as much clock back as possible. Here, Malone Brown. Swinging this across the face. He almost bought too much, but sticks it in. And it will be a back to within 10 here for Carolina.
And now the biggest question I'm thinking here, Jacob, is did Carolina leave too much time for Pittsburgh to get things back on their side? Because it's 1:05 left to go. Carolina's going to get the football back in the second half. You have to think that the Riverhawks are going to play aggressive.
Do have the receiving options to do so. We've already seen plenty from Doug Britton. Return up the middle. That is Churchill on return duties. Gets that to the 30. And we'll see if Pittsburgh dial it up here or if they're happy to cut it into the sheds with a 10-point advantage.
Yeah, a minute to go with all 3 timeouts. I'd say once they cross that midfield marker, I'd see the timeout starting to fly. So let's see how this drive starts, and if it stalls for them, they'll just head to the locker room with a 10-point lead.
Start with Twins receivers to the left here, 2 backs behind Fennec. They will hand it off to Bullets. That's not going to get him much. It'll be a 2-yard gain. Carolina not willing to stop the clock here, and Pittsburgh not dialing it up, so that's projecting to be your halftime score.
Yeah, we still got a couple plays at least left to go. We'll see if they're more aggressive on this play. They do have 3 receivers on a strong eye.
It's Churchill in the backfield. Again, it will go straight to him up the middle, trying to run at it, and gets about 5 there on that carry. So more productive. No speed there to get back to the line of scrimmage once more. But you should see up there the total yards. That last drive for Carolina starting to square things out a little bit more. It feels a bit more even than it did perhaps in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Another handoff. Churchill, let's have work to do to get back to the line of scrimmage. Got a yard out of that one in the end. Mojo McLean shutting that one down 13-3 at halftime in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It is a home lead for the Riverhogs at halftime. Carolina, it wasn't the most desirable opening quarter, especially after that pick 6 by Doug Day. That's your difference maker so far in this game. Otherwise, a couple of field goals for Pittsburgh are what keeping them ahead here. Brett Solberg, you saw more of that first half than I did. Talk me through what you saw there.
Well, aside from the one drive that led to a field goal, Jacob, let's just say how it is. 33 yards of offense in one half minus one drive is not going to win you football games. The Carolina offense has been stymied throughout this contest by what seems to be a rejiggered Pittsburgh defense that has really started to plant themselves into forcing Carolina into what they maybe didn't want to do, and that was throw the ball a little bit more. Now, Dynasty is 4 of 6 in this occasion, but they want to get Dynasty throwing the ball more so they could have more opportunities to pick that ball off. Whereas for Carolina, they finally got that run game going to start off. McBride has been struggling a little bit, but Quintero has been the benefactor of the run game. We'll see if they go back to him in the start of this second half.
Day was your player of the half there. That pick 6, he only had one tackle, but that pick 6 and the major score for Pittsburgh is the difference maker so far in this game. It's a 10-point advantage for the Riverhogs, but Carolina will start with possession here. Return up to the 30 is a good one. And again, it wasn't quite the opening turn we expected from the veteran quarterback Brian Dynasty. 4 of 6, so not for lack of completion rate. The one interception on the board again, a heavy one to swallow. Gibson ripping back.
They did it again.
So the only 2 receptions, and a run to the outside. Craven blows it up.
Yeah, we've seen that twice now in this game where it seems like specifically on that split back formation, they go to that left side. Craven is there immediately. He's just jumping that snap.
Good work in the film room by the outside linebacker and head coach Brian Craven. Dicey goes 5 wide. Can't run it here. He will sit in the pocket for an age. Throws it downfield for Curtis. It's incomplete. And there was plenty of Pittsburgh coverage around in the area. Did enough to force that one away.
And again, you're forcing Carolina into a situation where you have to pass that football. You can't just rely on the run game to get you those 12 yards. Again, I think for the 3rd or 4th time in this game, specifically 3rd and 12.
Schenkel with that deflection, her first season in Pittsburgh, 2nd in the league, throws to the backfield. That's Quintero. He's got plenty of work to do, and Genkel is going to shut it down. So back-to-back plays. In fact, that's Manor. I saw the numbers reversed, and it's a stop there for Pittsburgh on defense there, and it's again this linebacking core is all over the place. Here, Tommy Bussey shutting that one down, and it feels like we've had sightings of all 4 of them now.
It was an interesting decision to go with a halfback swing pass on a 3rd and long situation, and it didn't work to this instance, but it has worked before, not only for Carolina but for multiple teams in this league. Pittsburgh just read it well.
It's that idea we're going to try and catch them off guard here with a throw. It did feel oddly conservative though as well. Pittsburgh got another opportunity, but their offense yet to score any points here today either. That handoff up the middle, that's going to get 2. It'll be a run for Mike Churchill.
And again, with your team at a 10-point advantage, you could approach this in many different ways. You can start running the clock down now if you wanted to, or you could try to build this lead even further. And then Pittsburgh's got options.
Back will throw this time. Got it in the middle. Great grab. There, it was almost jarred free, but Ben Harrison held onto it.
And again, Ace Fenech just zipping it like an ace pitcher in a baseball game, right down the middle of the seams and getting right into the hands of Ben Harrison this time. And you'd think that Hronek would be, the benefactor of those, but right now, Fenech has been spreading the wealth really well amongst its receivers.
Indeed, he has. Every single one of them has a touch so far in this game. That run on the outside, Broussard's going to blow it up. In fact, he fell backwards. It was another Carolina defender that got there on Churchill. So both of the backs here for Pittsburgh quite close in terms of yardage. It's Bullets who's the more efficient of the two. It's averaging just shy of 5 yards per carry. He's back in the backfield, but it will be a throw from Fenech. He will wait the pop again. He's got Bullets in the receiving game this time.
Again, it's just beautiful protection from the Pittsburgh offensive line to make sure Fenech goes through his progressions, finds his open looks, and sometimes a halfback seam route can be your best friend, especially in zone plays, because a lot of the linebackers aren't anticipating running backs to be part of the pass game. So it was great work from both Bullets and Fenech to meet eye to eye on the seam route and get the connection.
See this one across there is Fenech. Drop back by Ace Fenech. Throws to the flats. It's caught by Britton. That will be a gain of 5.
Yeah, you got to love those in routes as well, especially when you go deep to Harrison early on for the first down, and then finding Bullets on a first down seam route. Those in routes can be your best friend afterwards, because usually the defense is looking deep again.
My Joker's formation, it was seldom you've seen Pittsburgh run any goal line offensive packages here. That carry to the right for Churchill will get him 2, and so it will be a 3rd down and short for Pittsburgh. It's a situation Carolina have found themselves in a few times here. We'll see if Bullets can get the first down on the ground. He's been the go-to in these situations. Same formation. It's Hronek who's the wide receiver on the outside. If they do want to throw it, it will be a run. And it's blown up in the backfield by Mojo McLean. Nowhere to go.
Yeah, not only just a regular tackle, but that was like a single leg takedown, basically forcing Bullets to the ground and forcing Pittsburgh to stall on their drive.
The result for Carolina, they're being pushed back quite a ways there. It's another swing from Dro, who just snuffed that one in. The breeze seems to be in effect on that side of the field, because it was Malone Brown who nearly missed one on his attempt from that side of the field. It might be the open end of the stadium that's causing him problems.
Yeah, that was almost shanked as well. You see the kick motion from Boudreau as well. It almost hit, the side of the foot instead of the front, where it depending on how you kick as a kicker, that could be a bad thing. I know, a lot of European footballers love the side of the foot because you can bend it like Beckham, but that's dangerous if you're looking to get a field goal.
It's past the 20-22. Yeah, it's more like the rugby union style of kicking, where you try and get a bit of swing on it. It's sort of not optimal sometimes to kick it direct, depending on when you are. In these instances it is, because you're straight in front of the goal. It'll be another opportunity for Carolina here. 5.5 left in the third. Pittsburgh took quite a bit of clock off on that last drive. Carolina still hanging around. They desperately need points here. Pressure again from both sides. It wasn't up the middle though. Quintero's got plenty to buy, and he's going to get up past the 40 there. Vasquez was the last line of defense who stopped him.
Yeah, and that one is, again, this is what Riley Quintero brings to the table. It's probably one of the best wide receiver to running back converts here in the SFL, and he gets that burst of speed that most running backs don't have. That breezes past that first level of scrimmage and then just keeps going.
64 yards on the ground off of 11 touches for RQ today. Handoff this time is going to get blown up. They responded well there, the Pittsburgh defense. As Odette Boudreau has been very productive today. It's another tackle.
And again, once Carolina gets that advantage, it feels like Pittsburgh just takes it back from them, and with a minimal gain from Carolina.
On the spread, it'll be handoff up the middle. Again, they sent plenty of pressure up the middle, but it was Quintero who's able to get a few, and it will be a 3rd down and medium. These are situations Carolina have not enjoyed today against this defense.
Yeah, it's just, you know, speckles of brilliance here and there from the Carolina run game, but Pittsburgh shuts that down almost immediately afterwards. You're not seeing repeat performances as much.
Back, that's a throw to the backfield court, and plenty of room to move into for Ike McBride. So that's the first time that swing route has worked on a 3rd down. They got the result there.
Yeah, and this was maybe a more appropriate scenario to get that screen pass or the swing pass to work, because it's a 3rd and short situation, and that's where you want to get those first downs, is, you know, misdirection, not from a 3rd and 12, because you may get, you know, 5 or 6 yards, but you're not going to get those full yards back. On a 3rd and 4, much better.
Swings out to the left. Again, they're sticking with the 3-2 here, Pittsburgh. Drop back this time. There was pressure sent up the middle, and Boudreau again getting in on that stop.
And again, it seems like if Carolina wants to get that run game going, they're getting stuffed by the linebackers. They're getting stuffed by even a couple of the defensive linemen as well. So it's been rough goings from you know, major points of the game.
And off to the outside, that will be a gain of a couple. Not much more on offer there for Quintero. It's another 3rd down and 6. And again, they dropped the screen pass last time they were here. Doesn't look like he's back in the backfield this time for Dicey, so he will have to find a receiver. He's got 4 of them plus a tight end. It's looking back on the right-hand side. Pittsburgh in the 3-2. They will send Craven forward. It's got Curtis. He's the only receiver with a catch today in terms of the wideout category, and it's only the third down completion for Carolina, but it's a crucial one.
Yeah, a nice little, you know, double slant from both Curtis and Earl, and there wasn't, you know, there wasn't all slants happening. You saw the left receiver basically going on a streak. So it had Pittsburgh, you know, trying to adjust on the fly, and it worked out to Curtis's benefit for getting open.
And if goes left, that will be a carry of 4 there for Quintero. So they continue to go to the ground game. Despite Pittsburgh's pressure that's being set up front, that zone now just starting to creep back towards being even closer now. It's been the best second half for Carolina's offense on the ground. And they're reaching now inside of the SFL red zone. Pressure on the outside on McBride. That was read like a book. And it's Craven again.
Yeah, we've talk about reading a book. It feels like it's a book we've read since childhood. This is the 3rd time now that Craven has just breezed through the line, jumped the gun, and got to the running back with relative ease.
Beautifully timed again by the veteran linebacker. Dropped back again by Dynasty. He's got to get rid of this. Throws it end zone. It is incomplete. That was worth a shot there at the end zone for Chris Curtis, because he's been the hot hand in terms of the receiving category today. But Amonte Dubois-Smith there back to ensure that was not going anywhere.
And again, another great job of protection, this time from the Carolina offensive line. It's just maybe a bit of an ill-advised throw. You saw the replay now, Jacob. That looked almost 1v3, maybe 2v3 in a disadvantage for the Skyhawks.
He was certainly triple covered there, so a question mark over whether or not that was the right call. Malone Brown's got a now 40-yarder here just to keep this in check and return it back to a 10-point ball game. He's got it, and with a minute and a half left in the 3rd term, Pittsburgh's 10-point lead remains instated.
Yeah, and right now, Carolina, they're starting to get things going. They're finding a little bit of their mojo, but it's not been enough. And right now, this difference maker has been the pick six so far. It feels like so far. So if Pittsburgh has another long drive, that could be the final nail in the coffin if Carolina can't pick things up.
I mean, it is. I mean, if you really wanted to get into the technical part of it, if we just counted offensive scores right now, the game would be 0-0. In the return by it's Britain this time. He spent the 3 seasons with Charleston as the lead returner, gets that one up to the 25.
Yeah, and just for those non-Europeans at home, when he says nil, he means 0. I just to clear things up. I know I'm being a bit of a I'm trying to think of the safe for work term for that one. I can't think of it right now, but maybe being a little bit of a butt. Let's just say that.
Getting into the technical part. Sure, people know what that means. Please, if you don't, let's
pedantic. That's
yeah, definitely pedantic. That was the word I was trying to come up with. Hand off to Churchill. That's a game of 5. I would criticize you for being late, but I was technically even later than you were today, so I can't even go there.
Well, technically you were on time. I just got stuck behind a bus. That's what happened to me. So you were on time. It's just your internet decided to be.
Yeah, your excuse seems a bit more valid there. A bit of bullets. He's got 4 progress and a first down as Churchill. In fact, Pittsburgh climbing closer to the 200 mark in terms of total offensive yards today.
Yeah, and the great thing about it is that it's not been, one single aspect of this game that has, played a part in Pittsburgh's offense. It's been both the offense and the defense, both the run game and the pass game. I got my things mixed up here. I mean, Churchill's looking good, Blitz is looking good, the pass game, everyone's getting involved. Like, this is what Pittsburgh wanted here tonight.
They highlighted the center just dragging the Carolina defensive line away from where he needed to be. That was fantastic. And up the outside, breaks a couple of tackles. Good pursuit by Broussard. That'll shut it down after a gain of 3.
I remember seeing BB Blitz's first or maybe second SFLM game and seeing the progress throughout all the seasons in this league to become such an effective running back 1B option for Pittsburgh has been astounding.
Fennec throws deep, it's incomplete. So Carolina gets a result just shy of the 3rd quarter break. And they will get the football back. They scored last. And again, a major score puts them right back in it here. And I thought it was 4th down. Well, that was silly of me. 3rd down and long. I'm not used to Pittsburgh going deep on 2nd downs. That was a bit odd. Drop back by Fennec. Carolina needs another stop here to make me look like a smart man. That's complete. What a grab. Ziggy Hronek, who was outstanding last season, had the breakout campaign with over 1,200 yards, was one of the most improved in the league. That is a risky throw from Ace Fennec, but Hronek did brilliantly.
Okay, let's just say, Jacob, that's the signature Hronek moonwalk catch.
He'll have to trademark that. 3-quarter time here. It's Pittsburgh with a 10-point lead. Such was the case at halftime. It's been field goals, and a Doug Day pick 6 that is the difference maker here in this contest. Pittsburgh with football and a first down here. Keith Wheeler is going to be motioned down to the outside. He's yet to have a touch. It'll be a handoff straight up the middle to Blitz. McLean got there, as did Rochelle Colston. It will be a gain of 1.
Yeah, and again, if I'm looking at Pittsburgh as a whole, right now in this game, it's been great from both sides. And, this might be a little bit of a stalling play, but they have found ways to adjust and get major yards after the fact.
Like a throw, caught, gaining of 7 there for Hronek. So he's got 2 on this drive now. If the down and short opportunity for Carolina to get off the field, they're on the fringe of Otis Boudreau field goal range. We know he can kick a 50-yarder. He's already done that this season. They need 3. Fennec will throw. There was pressure across. Hronek bailed them out again with another diving grab.
It's been a good show, at least in this last 2 minutes for Pittsburgh's receiving core. We've seen a lot of impressive catches, all around from this squad, especially I'd say 2 minutes, probably the last 3 or 4.
Churchill, Carolina now on the fence here. They really have to keep this within 2 scores if there are any chance of clawing this one back in the 4th quarter. That's an important play by Shrevant Prasad. It's only a 1-yard gain for the tailback. They'll put Bullets back out there with Wheeler on the opposite side. 3 receivers if Fennec chooses to throw. Out the middle goes Bullets, shut down by Stinson. It's a gain of 6, and it'll be 3rd down and short, but they are in field goal range now.
Yeah, and we've seen this a lot from Pittsburgh as well. Those 3rd down opportunities have been relatively short 1st downs. I don't think we've seen anything past 3rd and 8 from Pittsburgh, whereas Carolina, a lot of 3rd and long situations out of them, which has, I think, been the difference maker in this game.
Harrison moved across as the tight end. It'll be handoff to Churchill. First defender nearly blew it up. The second did. That's a good play by Tristan Hatley. And it will be stopped there for a loss of 2. And Carolina can get their defense off the field.
And that might have been Churchill's first ill-advised decision to turn that zone run into a sweep and try to go to the outside, because there was just nothing happening on that play whatsoever. Maybe try to cut to the inside. Maybe would have gained a yard or 2, but Carolina did well.
So his 4th attempt from outside 40 yards is good, so he's been outstanding today. And as you'd sort of expect, one of the all-time greats at his position in this league. And it's Pittsburgh now with a 13-point lead reinstated. That's where it was at the beginning of the 3rd quarter. So Carolina now with pressure. You feel like they have to score here on this drive and get a touchdown on the board to put some pressure on. Might be the most important possession of the game, this one. No return by Nolan Pierce, and Carolina will took this one out to the 20. Put yourself in Mojo McLean's shoes here, Brett. Do you go more aggressive, or do you continue to try and work the ground game and hope that you can get some more relief? Because so far this Pittsburgh defense has been all over it.
You might want to get a balance of both. I would get Quintero maybe on toss plays, and then I would look for Dynasty maybe to throw some deep slant routes, maybe down the middle. There is some gaps there in the Pittsburgh defense.
There's a handoff at the middle. There was plenty of yellow jerseys around the area, and it will be a no gain. In fact, Quintero, they say, will get up to the line of scrimmage. I'm not sure if he even got that far. There was so much Pittsburgh pressure up front. You feel like they have to dial up past that all over the running backs at the moment.
Yeah, and time is quickly running out as well.
Under 7 minutes left in the game. It's McBride who got rid of one defender. Poor Corey Meta had to eat the grass there. It's a gain of 4.
Yeah, and just for comparisons right now, we have seen it looks to be 27, 28 attempts from all the rushing game. Only 11 passing attempts from Bryant Dynasty. You've got to have better balance. You've got to get more passes down if you're Carolina, in my humble opinion.
3rd and 6, they now 1st down, and they're not even past halfway yet, so they can't even go for it on a 4th. Dynasty's got to get it here.
There it is.
It's caught! Coverage! Up and halfway, and it's caught. That is unbelievable. What a huge, important play. It's Nolan Pierce with that reception. It's the first time Dynasty's find a receiver outside of Chris Curtis. And it's the sophomore receiver who is the hero who gets them up and halfway.
Yeah, that's something that they needed to do as well. They needed to start throwing caution into the air and just saying, you know what, we need to get this ball downfield quicker. 2-on-1 doesn't matter for Nolan Pierce.
And for the middle now, they've got room. Quintero nearly broke that one off completely. It'll be a gain of 9.
Yeah, another good run from Quintero. I said maybe they should go outside on a toss a little bit more, but looks like the inside is working a little bit more for Riley. So I say if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Pittsburgh's been primarily, I should say, sending the pressure on the outside, as such was the case there, but McBride did get enough to get the first down. It was those inside carries where the middle of the Pittsburgh defense did collapse, and Quintero could get plenty of room. So if they dial up something similar here on this play. Here's another spread formation. Craven on the far side. It will go in his direction. Only a 2-yard gain there. And Pedro, again, she's had 2 sacks, but plenty of run coverage as well.
Yeah, and Carolina's going to count their blessings that they went the opposite direction of what looked to be Monzuma on the pursuit, because he jumped the gun again, but he was just on the wrong side of that line.
They'll go up the middle again. Craven on the stop. It's a 6-yard gain. Quintero was able to get some forward progress there, and it makes his 3rd down. Not too challenging per se.
Have yourself a day, Brian Craven, his 11th tackle of the game.
Unbelievable. He'd have to be out of the game so far, but Brian, nowhere to go. Pittsburgh gets a huge stop. That might be a game winner there. It's a stop by Vasquez. They are going to have to go for it here on 4th down and 2.
Yeah, need to.
In fact, you've got to send it up the middle again.
Craven's going to jump this gun. They've got Craven and Monzuma on opposite sides. I wouldn't be too surprised if they brought 5.
Veteran Tony Zano moves across the formation to get an extra run blocker on that right side. They're going to go that way to Quintero, shut down by Oju Pedro. How good has she been today? And Pittsburgh's going to get the turnover on downs.
Yeah, Boudreaux got the tackle in the TFL, but give credit to Monzuma for basically forcing 2 Carolina offensive players to stay on him, which opened up the gap for Boudreaux to get to McBride and stop the Carolina drive.
3 3/4 remaining. Pittsburgh with a 2-score game. They can really dial this clock away now. Hand up at the middle. Wow. Churchill, plenty of room, give him 10 plus. And a straight clean 1st down on the opening play.
Giving him a lot of love. Churchill's 15th carry, just inching a little bit under the 50-yard mark. It has been a little bit of a struggle, but you see runs like that and you think to yourself, man, Churchill's been, cooking today, in important moments for Pittsburgh tonight.
Boy, heavy set now. It'll be a Bullett's carry, you imagine. Wheeler still out there. Straight up the middle. Bullets stuffed the defender in the grass, and he was picked up and poleaxed into the ground. Carolina starting to get a little bit messy here on defense, but it's still a 7-yard gain for BB.
Yeah, and hey, you take any kind of yardage that you can. If it looks like it's going to be a complete mess to get those 7 yards, you still get those 7 yards regardless.
2nd down and 3, and Pittsburgh starting to really get this clock wound down so they can get out of here with a win. A couple more 1st downs here should do it. Churchill got a lead block and gets the 1st down. That'll take us to the 2-minute warning.
And Pittsburgh settling into, really shedding that clock down. They're comfortable with this 10-point lead, and with the pace of this game that's going on right now, it's definitely felt like, this 13-point lead is going to be insurmountable for Carolina.
2 to go here. One more 1st down, you feel will start burning the timeouts for Carolina. Pittsburgh up by 13 here at home over the Carolina Skyhawks. And as you might have mentioned at the top of the broadcast, both of these teams coming into the game winless. Carolina, of course, have only played the one game, but Pittsburgh 0-2. It appears that the Riverhogs will get their first win of the campaign. Up outside, Churchill broke a tackle. Colston had to wrap that one up after a gain of 7. Carolina's first time out is burnt.
Yeah, and this game can really be defined as I guess you could say gritty pity, because Pittsburgh has just grit and grinded their way to this win. It has been, when you think of the city of Pittsburgh, this is the kind of style of play that you're used to seeing.
Base will be most pleased with this game. Another good run from Churchill. And it looked early like he was going to be having a slow afternoon, but he's been brilliant thus far. Let's check in with the other side of this game block with Mr. Cameron Owen.
Thank you, Jacob. It was tight down the stretch. The game lived up to the billing. Albuquerque at Denver. K. Marion ties the game at 20 late. Albuquerque had a chance to win it, but they ran out of time, so we went to overtime, and Denver kicked the game-winning field goal on the opening drive. The Night Wings beat Albuquerque 23-20. Back to you.
That is an upset. Albuquerque falling to Denver on the road. I'd have to double-check who yourself and Eddie picked on the show. I know Eddie went against us later in the time block, so it's going to be one up for you in your pick'ems.
We both went Albuquerque.
There you go. So cancelled out there. Denver pulls off the upset. That run will get Churchill closer towards you again. Now, can you believe this? We've got yet more football coming up so far this evening. It's the 9 o'clock block, of course, as always. Sin City and Bossier City, both winless teams so far this season, trying to get their first wins of the campaign. Mike O'Neill and Alex West will give you courage in that one. And then the best team in the SFL, the Charleston Predators, will take on the Florida Storm in the eye, their first road game of the season, trying to continue an undefeated start, hopefully by not going to overtime this week, because my night rate doesn't need it anymore. It's too hard for me.
You owed me double overtime because you guys just barely hit the triple zeros on that second game. You owe me double overtime against Florida.
I certainly hope so. That run gets the first down. Carolina's last time out is gone, and then Pittsburgh enter victory formation. Is a win for the Riverhogs. They were impressive across all facets today. Impressively, or maybe even surprisingly, might be the right word, no offensive points today in this game. Again, it's field goal contest. It was 4-2 in that regard, and then it was the Doug Day pick six that was the major score that really cemented this win for Pittsburgh. A huge play by arguably their biggest target in the offseason, getting him over from the Chicago Warriors. He's made a statement today.
Huge statement, not just from him, but I think we can safely say here, Jacob, the Bash brothers are back and in full force. Both him and Brian Craven, absolute X factors on the defense tonight.
That's right, they were known as that back in the Louisiana Revolution days. So that's a good statement piece here for Pittsburgh. They've won this one at home, 19 points to 6. Carolina now 0-2 on the campaign in the competitive East Division. It's Pittsburgh who get their first win of the campaign and move to 1-2. Brett, give me your breakdown of this game.
Yeah, this, like I said earlier, this was just the grit and grind Pittsburgh way that they brought to the table against Carolina, and Carolina tried to respond in kind with their own grit and grind with Quintero and McBride. But with that, you need to have some type of pass game to really counter with that. Ace Fennick did pretty well, 12 of 19, $146, made no mistakes. Bryant Dynasty, though, when your team down, you need to start passing the ball more. They aren't doing that. Dynasty finishes only 8 of 12. They need to get that pass game going, or else it's going to spell doom for Carolina's season. And you just see it, the lack of points scored from that offense, under 200 yards. That's not going to win you a football game. There's a lot to work for Carolina and Pittsburgh. This was a great adjustment from 2 back-to-back one-score losses. Great work from Pittsburgh. Congrats on your first win of the season.
That'll do us here at the Hog Pen. Again, 2 more games upcoming. Sin City at Bossier City, Charleston at Florida to follow, starting at 9 o'clock Eastern. We'll see you there. Thank you again to Takina Yuki and JW Hartshorn on Stats. Brett Solberg, my analyst. I'm Jacob Clear. We'll see you next time here on the Virtual Football Network, presenting the Simulation Football League.
Badoo!